Good afternoon. How is everyone on today? Just wanted to bring you a story about a inmate. His name is Humberto Beto Duran. He was released from prison after 30 years, and we keep on seeing innocent people that have been falsely accused and the prosecutors withholding evidence and knowing before they even go to trial in the discovery process that they already have the information that the person they are accusing is actually innocent of the crime that they are saying they committed. Now, Humberto Beto Duran, he's thanking the Loyola Project for the innocent after being released from the Richard Donovan State Prison in San Diego, California, after his attorneys say he was wrongfully convicted 30 years ago. Now, Humberto Beto Duran, who claims he was wrongfully convicted of murder and attempted murder charges, tasted freedom for the first time in 30 years Wednesday, January 11. Now, this is thanking the Loyola Project for the innocent. Now, Duran was released on parole from Donovan State Prison here in San Diego, and he was there, his family was there for the happy reunion. So he was able to have a happy reunion with his family, as you can see in this picture right here. And he goes on to say, "I'm feeling good, happy, unbelievable. I can't believe I'm out." And you know, after 30 years, it would be difficult to believe that you are out of prison, especially if you were falsely accused. He embraced his family members outside the walls of Donovan. Now, words can't even express how we feel. It's been way too long, too many years, said Duran's sister Veronica Ibarra. "We've been dreaming of this day forever, and we still can't believe it's happening." Duran was arrested in 1993 for the murder of Albert Gonzalez and the attempted murder of Monica Rivera in East Los Angeles. He claims he was falsely convicted and has maintained his innocence for the entire 30 years of his incarceration. Beto's case stuck out from the very beginning, said Megan Baca, assistant legal director of Loyola Project for the Innocent. Now, it's the Loyola Project for the Innocent is a nonprofit organization that has been fighting for Duran's release. There was only one witness who testified against him at the trial. There were a number of alibi witnesses available to testify at the trial, but get this, but his trial attorney just chose not to call them, So he chose to play with this man's future in order for this man to be convicted of a 30-year prison sentence for a crime, murder, that he did not commit. Now, in fact, his trial attorney went on the record in court and said, "I won't be putting on a defense for Beto." That almost sounds like a case we are kind of familiar with, right? Lack of proper defense, lack of adequate defense, right? So that lawyer, he was actually disbarred. He was disbarred sometime after Duran's conviction. He was disbarred. And if they start to disbar a lot of these attorneys that become prosecutors, if they disbar them, a lot of this judicial corruption probably would stop, or it will decrease. I would say it would decrease if they start to disbar a lot of these prosecutors that are violating people's rights. They're violating the defendant rights. The one that they are accusing, their rights are being violated. And I think that if they start to disbar a lot more of these corrupt attorneys that took an oath, officers of the court, maybe a lot of these convictions of innocent men would be decreased. Now, after his release on parole, they plan to present new evidence to the court this month, and they're confident his conviction will be overturned. So right now he's on parole. So they still have to go through some probably litigation or some litigation to get the conviction overturned, or some type of process. And that shouldn't be, because if you're innocent and they release you, you shouldn't be on parole. You shouldn't have to go through any of that, especially when you was falsely convicted from the beginning and the defense trial attorney, refused to, bring in, alibi witnesses that could have testified on behalf of this man, Humberto, and I believe his name is Humberto Beto Duran. That's what they called him, Beto. But Humberto, and they called him Beto, for short, Duran. This really constantly is a problem here. This is very problematic when we keep seeing these things. And so, now, they say they gave back Humberto Duran his life. But if he's on parole, his life really hasn't been given all the way back to him. Now, he's out on parole. He has freedom. He's able to spend time with his family. But he's still not free. Honestly, he's not free until they get him off of parole and get this litigation taken care of to get his conviction overturned. Then he's still not free. He's outside of he's outside of Donovan State Prison walls, yes. And he's with his family, but he's still not free. Now, the sister said, Elizabeth Duran said, they gave him back his life, and he's actually going to have a life now. He missed 30 years of his life, but nothing will give him that back. That's right. Nothing's going to give him those 30 years back. Now, the time with his family, to make a family, but he still has time to enjoy us, and that's what matters most. But he can't get back the time with his family that he was away from his family, to make a family, but he still has time to enjoy his family, yeah. But all of the other stuff, he cannot ever get that back. Now, during their reunion, Duran's mother could be heard crying while hugging her son tightly. Now, thank God she was still here to participate in the reunion of her son. Now, this is what I'm saying right here. Thank God she was still there, right? And Duran was asked what activities he is looking forward to doing with his newfound freedom. He said he'd like to go fishing and read some books, go to Disneyland with my parents, said Duran. Now, after the heartfelt reunion, Duran's family loaded into their car because they had special plans. His sister said, we're going straight home to my parents' home to celebrate Christmas, said Elizabeth. We still have a Christmas tree at our house. We still have the house decorated. We kept everything up. Undoubtedly, it will be a Christmas celebration Duran won't soon forget. Open my gifts and cherish the moment for all these years that I missed Christmas, said Duran, while hugging his mother, looking forward to another Christmas and the New Year's. This is really sad that this happened, and it continues to happen, and nothing, seems to be holding a lot of these prosecutors, these attorneys accountable, even the judges accountable for their actions. And even though that trial defense attorney was disbarred, which is a good thing, he was disbarred to practice law. However, what about all of these other, we keep seeing these wrongful convictions, just like I just spoke with you about Lamar Johnson, and then there was Victor Simmons, there was Maurice Hastings, and the list is long, right? And so the thing is that in order for it to stop, it has to, it needs to, in order for it to stop, it has to be caught, right? And people have to be held accountable before it gets as far as these defendants that are being convicted, going on trial and then being convicted. And I find that problematic, and problematic that we keep on seeing these things over and over and over and over again. And so there's got to be some accountability when it comes to this. And so I wanted to also share this story with you, why, something really needs to be done before this, before innocent people or men, especially men, are placed behind bars, and then convicted based on evidence that the prosecution presents, but yet and still do not provide, but they have it. And with the Lamar Johnson, they had the evidence and refused to turn it over, and he went to trial anyway. And even in this case, and it's so sad, even in this case, he was innocent, and they still proceeded not to call people that could have given him an alibi, the witnesses. And so I wanted to share this other part of this with you. Now, the California Attorney General plans to investigate questionable criminal convictions, right? So a California Attorney General Rob Bonta on Friday announced his creation of a new legal team to investigate wrongful or improper criminal convictions from the past. The new post-conviction justice unit, the first of its kind at the state level, will work to support integrity in the criminal legal system and seek to remedy cases where there have been miscarriages of justice, Bonta's office said. Whether it's as a result of bias, changes in forensics, or any other issue, our system is not foolproof, and we must make every effort to ensure the integrity of prosecutions in our state, Bonta said. He said the goal of the office is to ultimately support public safety by ensuring public trust in the criminal justice system. Its works, he said, during a news conference in Oakland, will be conducted with an eye towards systemic racism and other injustices that have undermined that system in the past. We're embracing our duty to seek justice, not to blindly seek convictions, and to make sure that convictions are just, Bonta said. And see, that's another thing. A lot of times the prosecution is blindly seeking convictions. Blindly. You know, they're doing that just to get a conviction. And they want to close their eyes to the real evidence when they know that a lot of these people, defendants that they're prosecuting and convicting, are innocent. And it's so sad. And not everybody is innocent, but it's sad when we have to read these stories over and over and over, and it becomes traumatic. And that should be problematic. That should be, it should be hard for anyone to sleep at night knowing that we have corrupt judicial, prosecutors, attorneys in the courts handling these cases just because they want to get a conviction. And it is time out for this, and it is time for people to be held accountable for their actions. And see, the move is part of a broader trend of prosecutors nationwide acknowledging faults in the criminal system and their role and responsibility for redressing miscarriages of justice. And that's so true. And when there's a miscarriage of justice, the prosecutors need to stop upholding their wrongful convictions and saying, well, we stand behind these convictions. No, because that shows your lack of regard for man, humanity, and it also shows that you have no regard for God, that you don't fear God, you don't fear God, and you have a lack of regard for humanity when you uphold wrongful convictions and come back and say, well, we still stand behind this conviction when you have the evidence that proves that they are innocent from the beginning, and you still had the audacity to bring charges and indict people and bring charges against them when you already had that information. And I pray to God that God has mercy upon all of you prosecutors that are sitting up here violating people's constitutional rights, discovery of evidence, and the due process. And I pray that God will have mercy on you also for sitting up here upholding wrongful convictions when you know that you made some mistakes. And when you make some mistakes and don't always get it right, you ought to come out and say, we don't always get it right. And we see that over and over and over and over again. Now, many local prosecutor offices already have such units, including the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office. Former District Attorney Jackie Lacey launched that office unit in 2015, and current District Attorney George Gascon renamed it as the Conviction Integrity Unit and has touted it as a critical component of his office. The trend has in part been driven by independent groups such as the California Innocence Project, finding repeated success in proving wrongful convictions and freeing people from prison. Successes have uncovered missteps and even misdeeds, missteps, but misdeeds. Deceptiveness, withholding evidence, lying, deceptiveness, knowing that people are lying on the stand, and then even excessively given immunity. We have seen the excessiveness of immunity in one specific case that a lot of people know about, and they keep giving excessive immunity to criminals that ought to be prosecuted, indicted, prosecuted, and put behind bars. Now, it's okay by prosecutors in the past calling their integrity, and the integrity, absolutely. other convictions they want into question. Yes, questionable, because their integrity is questionable, because they lack the honest integrity, moral integrity, and responsibility, and they're not being held accountable. And it's time for these prosecutors to be held accountable. This is not hate. This is not attacking them. This is standing up for what is right and speaking out and using our voices to bring awareness to what's going on. So people, if you believe that they always get it right in the judicial system, then you have got to start rethinking things. And that is why I keep bringing these stories to you when I get them, because at the end of the day, we have got to see that the prosecutors and the government and the judges don't always get it right. And it's a lot of times it's intentional to bring a wrongful conviction against an innocent party. Now, prosecutors have launched their own review teams to take ownership of the process and at times own up to the mistakes of their own staff in the past. Michael Simichik, a managing attorney for the California Innocence Project, said Friday that his group was thrilled with Bonta's announcement. The new unit will not only put more eyes on the vast number of cases that deserve review in the state, but in some instances will be able to provide more impartial reviews than local prosecutors whose offices were involved in a case's initial handling. He said, and that's absolutely true. The people that handled the case from the initial handling, they shouldn't be involved. Conflict of interest, they shouldn't be involved. It should be someone else, that can be impartial, right? Now, the Attorney General's office also will have more ready access to police records, case files, and other evidence in problematic cases that private groups such as the Innocence Project, and will therefore be able to spot integrity issues and injustices and take them back into court and before judges much faster. Simichek said private organizations must file motions and relitigate cases in court if they want such access. And this is the thing right here. And I want to say this, and then I'll tell you, read it what's in the article. No one should have to go through litigation for years when they know that they're already innocent. And so what they're saying right here is that access to all of the information certainly gives them a head start for determining whether a wrongful conviction happened, he said. They have the power to undo a wrongful conviction a lot swifter and easier than us having to go and litigate it all over again. Now, the California Innocence Coalition, which consists of the California Innocence Project, the Northern California Innocence Project, the Loyola Project for the Innocent, and the Los Angeles Innocence Project, also praised Bonta's announcement as a step forward, saying it hopes the new unit will carry out the spirit of justice for the wrongfully convicted. Bonta said the new unit will begin by reviewing cases that his office has handled. That includes cases that were transferred to his office because a local prosecutor's office had a conflict, and cases that his office took up on appeal. We feel we need to start by looking at and reviewing ourselves. He said, yeah, take a look in the mirror, take the finger and point it inward, because you're looking at yourself in the mirror, and you are the best person that can start to do what's right by looking in the mirror. Now, that was my part that I put in that. Now, later it will cast its gaze statewide, he said. Bonta's office said his new unit will work with local district attorneys to conduct investigations and reviews aimed at resolving wrongful or improper criminal convictions, including matters where there may be evidence of significant integrity issues, and to identify cases that may be suitable for potential resentencing. Because if someone is guilty of something but innocent of the other, there is no reason why they should be charged for crimes that they didn't commit. So it shouldn't be no changing of language and or to get a conviction. If they're innocent of one of the things and guilty of the other, then they should be innocent of that. That's resentencing, giving them a lower sentence because they're not guilty of everything that you're saying, but because they can get away, these prosecutors, and change the language, and then the judges that are biased go along with it. That's problematic, and that's a concern. And we all should be concerned about that, and we should be concerned about the prosecutors keep misusing federal and state tax money to convict innocent people, get these wrongful convictions. We all should be concerned about that. Now, in localities that have their own integrity units, we want to defer to those units, Bonta said. We're happy those units are there. Our unit is an extra layer of review. In localities with their own units, Bonta's new team will step in to conduct any reviews it deems necessary, he said. Now, The state team will provide statewide leadership in the area, including by developing a set of best practices for such reviews and coordinating with local conviction integrity units. The new unit will be led by 2 deputy attorney generals who will establish formal protocols for accepting cases for review. Bonta said he is creating the positions using existing discretionary funds. So the new unit requires no new budget. Amen to that. Hallelujah to that. Now, the unit will start its work as soon as it is staffed and can establish clear criteria for accepting cases. We hope to do that as fast as possible, he said. So with that being said, you all, thank you for tuning in. Please share this video, please. And don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you're not a subscriber. And thank you all to my subscribers. Thank you so much for sticking with it. Thank you so much, because these cases are very important when we can highlight these cases, because it goes to show that there is much work that needs to be done in our judicial systems across the country, across the country of America, and not just in California, not just in Chicago, not just in New York, but across the country. Our judicial system needs an overhaul. It needs an overhaul, because this is what we're facing. But when we can get people that are in office that are using honest integrity to do what's right and to go back and look at these cases, questionable cases, and then the other thing is they need to start holding these prosecutors accountable, like they did with this trial attorney, defense attorney with Humberto Beto Duran's case. They disbarred him. And if more people are disbarred, more pensions are being held and not given out for the things that they're doing, take it out of their pension when there's wrongful convictions and they find out there was some misdeeds, missteps, improper things going on. When they had the evidence and they chose to ignore it, they didn't give them the adequate legal counsel that they deserve under their constitutional rights. When they start doing stuff like that to hold these type of people's officers of the court and attorneys, guess what? I think that some of these cases will decrease. I'm not saying all of them, but I think a lot of them will start to decrease when with these wrongful convictions, because we continue to see people being released, inmates that have wrongful convictions. So again, God bless you all on today. Like I said, share the video, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel if you're not a subscriber. Thank you all, and I will talk with you soon on that. And just one of the other things here is that the Loyola Project for the Innocence secures release of falsely accused man. And basically what they do is they work to, they work on behalf of the inmate. They get the information, they look into it and things like that. So you can look up, you can actually, read up on about the Loyola Project for the Innocent. There it is right there, and you can actually pull it up. I put the information in the end in the description box, in the reference and disclaimer box, so you can go ahead and look that up if you are interested in knowing about that. So again, thank you all.